Your stomach isn't the real issue. After spending more than 12 years working with men who have tried every solution imaginable, strict diets, fiber supplements, endless walks, expensive probiotics, and countless health routines, I can tell you something with confidence. The stubborn belly many men over 60 struggle with is not caused by laziness, poor discipline, or even the foods they eat. It's the result of a biological process that quietly started slowing down years before that belly ever appeared. And once that process begins moving in the wrong direction, it keeps getting worse unless you address the root cause. Here's the frustrating part. The answer isn't expensive. It doesn't require a prescription. It isn't hidden behind some miracle supplement. In fact, there's a good chance the solution is already sitting in your kitchen right now. The problem is that nobody explained what it actually does, how to use it properly, or why all the things you've tried before never delivered lasting results. That changes today. Right now, an estimated 71% of men over 60 are carrying significant amounts of partially processed waste inside their digestive tract. That material can ferment, creating inflammatory compounds that pass through the gut wall and enter the bloodstream. Over time, those compounds contribute to the stubborn, visceral fat around the midsection, the kind that refuses to disappear no matter how many diets, probiotics, or walking programs you commit to. You can't see it happening. You can't weigh it on a scale, but it's happening every single day, and most men never realize it. In this video, I'll rank 5 oils that help correct this underlying mechanism, starting with the least effective and working up to the most powerful. The oil in the number 1 spot has been shown to increase bile release by as much as 70% within just 2 hours. And by the time we get there, you'll understand exactly why previous approaches failed and what you can start doing tomorrow morning. Stay with me. This is the conversation many men should have had years ago. Before we begin, I'm Dr. Rena, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 12 years of clinical experience helping men navigate the exact challenges you may be facing today. I created this channel because men deserve practical answers, not vague advice, not quick dismissals, and not recommendations that sound good but produce little change. If that's the kind of information you're looking for, take a moment to subscribe and leave a like. It helps this video reach another man who may need to hear it just as much as you do. And while you're here, leave a comment and tell me where you're watching from. I enjoy reading everyone. Now let's talk about what's really happening inside the body, the single mechanism driving much of this problem. As men age, often beginning in their mid-50s, the liver gradually produces less bile. Don't overlook that. Bile is far more important than most people realize. It's produced by the liver, stored in the gallbladder, and released into the small intestine whenever dietary fat enters the digestive system. Most people know bile helps digest fat. What they don't realize is that it also supports the muscular movements that keep food and waste moving through the digestive tract. It helps control bacterial overgrowth responsible for fermentation and gas. It assists in removing fat-soluble waste products, including excess cholesterol. When bile production is strong, digestion functions efficiently. When bile production slows, problems begin to accumulate. Fat remains incompletely processed. Undigested material feeds unwanted bacteria. Those bacteria produce gas, leading to bloating. They generate inflammatory compounds that support fat storage around the abdomen. And they release molecules called lipopolysaccharides, which can pass through the intestinal wall and enter circulation. You won't feel this process. You won't notice it happening in real time. But it can quietly fuel inflammation throughout the body while encouraging the growth of visceral fat that resists traditional weight loss efforts. This isn't simply an inconvenience. It's a process that compounds day after day. And yet, what are most men told to do? Eat more fiber, drink more water, take probiotics. The problem is that none of those directly address declining bile production. Fiber has benefits, but it doesn't increase bile output. Adding more fiber to a system lacking adequate bile is like sending more traffic onto a highway where the bridge ahead has collapsed. Water is essential for health, but it doesn't stimulate bile release. Probiotics can absolutely be valuable. I recommend them regularly. But introducing probiotics into an environment already overwhelmed by fermenting fat residues and a compromised gut lining is like buying new furniture for a house with a leaking roof. The foundation still needs repair. That's why meaningful change comes from addressing the mechanism itself rather than the symptoms. And that's where these oils come in. Your liver constantly produces bile salts, which act as natural emulsifiers that break fat into particles small enough to absorb. When bile salts become insufficient, fats move through the digestive tract less efficiently, creating an environment that encourages fermentation, gas, and inflammation. After age 60, three things often decline at the same time. Bile salt production decreases, gallbladder contractions become less efficient, and the signals responsible for triggering bile release operate within a digestive system that is already moving more slowly. The result is a digestive system that isn't necessarily diseased or damaged. It's simply operating with less of the substance it depends on most. Now, here's what makes this so interesting. The strongest natural trigger for bile release is fat itself. When the right fats reach the small intestine, powerful hormonal signals tell the gallbladder to contract and release stored bile. The oils we're about to discuss provide that signal. And when used correctly, they can help wake up a system that has become increasingly sluggish over time. Let's start the countdown. 5 oils ranked by how effectively they support this process, beginning with number 5, because understanding an oil's limitations is just as important as understanding its benefits. Number 5, black seed oil. Black seed oil has built a reputation over the years as a traditional remedy for everything from immune support to digestive health. And to be fair, some of that reputation is deserved. Its primary active compound, thymoquinone, has demonstrated antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects that may help protect the digestive tract. That part is supported by research. But when it comes to increasing bile production and helping clear accumulated fat residues, its impact is relatively modest. One study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology reported improvements in digestive markers of roughly 6% over 8 weeks. That's helpful. But it's not transformative. Black seed oil doesn't strongly activate bile release. It doesn't significantly speed intestinal movement. Think of it as maintenance rather than repair, like repainting a house while ignoring a broken plumbing system. The paint helps. The bigger issue remains. If you already use black seed oil, 1 teaspoon with breakfast is reasonable. Just understand its role. It offers protection, not correction. Number 4, flaxseed oil. Flaxseed oil may be one of the most overlooked oils on this entire list. Most people associate it with omega-3 fatty acids and stop there. But its biggest benefit may actually be what it does for the intestinal lining. And that matters because years of reduced bile flow can quietly damage the gut barrier. Flaxseed oil is rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3. This compound supports the health of the intestinal wall, helping strengthen the barrier responsible for keeping harmful substances where they belong. When that barrier weakens, inflammatory compounds gain easier access to the bloodstream. Every strategy becomes less effective because it's operating inside a compromised environment. Repairing that environment is a critical first step. Research published in the World Journal of Gastroenterology found that flaxseed oil reduced intestinal inflammation by 34%, while significantly improving gut barrier function within 3 weeks. Many men report reduced bloating within days. The rumbling settles down. Discomfort becomes less frequent. A typical serving is 1 tablespoon each morning on an empty stomach. Avoid heating it, since heat can damage the omega-3 content. Its mild flavor also makes it easy to use consistently. One important note, flaxseed oil may have mild blood thinning effects, so speak with your physician if you take anticoagulant medications. Why is it only number 4? Because it repairs the road. It doesn't move the traffic. Number 3, MCT oil. MCT oil became famous through the keto movement. Some claims surrounding it were exaggerated. But when it comes to stimulating bile-related activity and helping process accumulated fat, the evidence remains compelling. MCT stands for medium-chain triglycerides. Unlike longer-chain fats, MCTs require very little digestion before absorption. They move quickly. Once absorbed, they reach the liver rapidly. The liver responds by increasing bile acid activity, creating a stronger digestive response. That surge can help the body process material that has been lingering in the digestive tract. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition found that MCT oil increased fat oxidation by 37% compared to other oils, and many participants noticed changes within days rather than weeks. The downside? Starting with too much can backfire. Digestive discomfort, cramping, and loose stools are common when people begin with large amounts. Start with half a teaspoon. Gradually work toward 1 tablespoon over 2 weeks. Adding it to coffee or a smoothie is often the easiest approach. Look for products containing C8 or C10 MCTs. And remember, coconut oil marketed as MCT oil is not the same thing. This oil delivers some of the fastest results on the list, but only if you stick with it long enough. Number 2, virgin coconut oil. Coconut oil earns second place because it addresses a challenge many other oils don't: biofilm. Biofilm is a protective layer that certain bacterial communities build around accumulated waste, helping it remain attached to the intestinal wall. That can make some men feel chronically backed up despite years of increasing fiber intake. Virgin coconut oil contains large amounts of lauric acid. When lauric acid reaches the intestines, it can help disrupt these protective structures. That makes accumulated material easier to remove. Research published in the Journal of Medicinal Food found improvements in gut motility of 43%, along with a 41% reduction in harmful bacterial populations after 30 days. Many men report more complete bowel movements and less lingering discomfort afterward. Within weeks, bloating often becomes noticeably less visible. The recommended approach is 2 tablespoons first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Wait about 30 minutes before eating. And for this specific purpose, avoid using it primarily as a cooking oil. One critical detail: you need virgin, cold-pressed coconut oil. Refined versions undergo processing that can reduce the compounds responsible for many of these benefits. That's the only reason coconut oil doesn't take the top position. Number 1, extra virgin olive oil. This is the one that consistently surprises people, not because they've never heard of olive oil, but because they've never been told how to use it effectively. Extra virgin olive oil contains exceptionally high levels of oleic acid. Oleic acid stimulates the release of cholecystokinin, a hormone that tells the gallbladder to contract and release bile. Every oil on this list can stimulate bile to some extent. What makes olive oil different is how long that effect lasts. Instead of creating a short burst of activity, it can support bile release for several hours. That means one morning serving can influence digestion throughout the day. Studies have observed bile secretion increasing between 52% and 70% within 2 hours of consumption. Researchers were able to directly observe gallbladder contraction through ultrasound imaging. In other words, the response was measurable and repeatable. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed men over age 55 who consumed 2 tablespoons daily for 12 weeks. Researchers observed a 48% improvement in intestinal transit time. Gut bacterial diversity increased by 31%. Inflammatory markers dropped by 27%, and reported bloating decreased by 53%. Those are significant numbers. The protocol is simple: 2 tablespoons every morning on an empty stomach, not mixed into breakfast, not spread on toast, not used for cooking. Take it directly before eating anything else. This allows the oleic acid to reach the small intestine quickly and trigger the strongest possible response. Quality matters. Look specifically for extra virgin, cold-pressed olive oil. Avoid products labeled light or pure, which are more heavily processed. A dark glass bottle and a visible harvest date are good signs of quality. Many men notice subtle digestive changes within the first week. By weeks 2 and 3, bloating often becomes less noticeable. And by the end of the first month, many describe something they haven't felt in years. Normal, not better. Normal. And that feeling alone is worth paying attention to. So what does the full protocol look like? Start with 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil every morning on an empty stomach. That's the foundation. Between lunch and dinner, add either 1 tablespoon of flaxseed oil or MCT oil to create a second period of digestive support. If using MCT oil, start slowly and build up. Flaxseed oil can begin at the full serving immediately. 2 or 3 mornings each week, add virgin coconut oil alongside the olive oil to help address biofilm buildup. What can you expect? Around day 3, bloating may begin to ease. By the end of week 1, bowel movements often feel more complete. Around week 2, clothing may fit differently around the waist. By day 30, many men wish they had started much sooner. Before you begin, avoid these 4 common mistakes. First, don't take these oils with food. An empty stomach is part of the mechanism. Second, avoid taking fiber at the same time. Some fibers can bind to fatty acids and reduce their effectiveness. Separate them by at least an hour. Third, don't compromise on quality. Virgin coconut oil is not the same as refined coconut oil. Extra virgin olive oil is not the same as regular olive oil. The differences matter. Fourth, never stop or change prescribed medications based on information from this video. If you take medications affecting liver or gallbladder function, speak with your physician before making changes. Over the years, I've noticed a pattern. Men who address the underlying mechanism often experience a completely different outcome than those who focus only on symptoms. Not a small improvement, a meaningful shift. And that's important because your belly is not a reflection of your character. Your body hasn't failed you. Your digestive system may simply be operating with less of something it needs to function efficiently. When that missing piece is restored consistently, the body often responds. That isn't wishful thinking. It's physiology. And many men carry this burden silently. The bloating, the stubborn belly, the constant feeling of being backed up. They rarely talk about it, but the people around them notice. They notice the discomfort after meals. They notice the tighter waistband. They notice the energy that seems missing. If someone you care about is struggling with these same issues, send them this video. The benefits of feeling better are rarely enjoyed by just one person. Now here's your challenge. Starting tomorrow morning, take 2 tablespoons of quality extra virgin olive oil on an empty stomach for 30 days. Keep a simple note. Compare day 1 to day 30. Pay attention to your bloating, your energy, your digestion, and how your clothes fit. Your body once knew how to operate efficiently. Sometimes it simply needs the right support to remember. Tomorrow morning, before breakfast, 2 tablespoons. That's where the journey begins. And before you leave, watch the next video. We're going to explore how these same changes in bile flow and digestive function may connect to testosterone levels, morning energy, and the fatigue so many men describe after 60. The link is waiting in the description. I'm Dr. Rena. Thank you for spending this time with me, for investing in your health, and for searching for real answers. If you found value in today's discussion, subscribe, leave a comment telling me where you're watching from, and share this video with one man who's been dealing with these issues in silence. He may need this information more than you realize.